Hello and welcome. My name's George and my channel is all about helping you get the most out of Logic Pro so that you can record and produce your best music in your home studio. Today we're continuing on with our Camaro 67 series, mixing and recording the song Late Night. And we're going to be looking at mixing our electric guitars. I'm going to show you exactly how I do this using only basic plugins. So let's dive in. Here's our session, and before we dive into the nitty-gritty of how I process these guitars, let me just give you a quick before and after. So here are the guitars with all my processing muted, and then I'll unmute so you can hear the difference. And here's with all the effects added. And with the drums and bass. Okay, so let's walk this back and show you how we achieve this. So for starters, we have two guitar players here. We have Jimmy and Craig. And let me start with Jimmy and let me bypass everything for starters. So for Jimmy's guitar, I actually had two channels here. So I had a direct signal from his pedal board, and so that's going before the amp, so it's nice and clean and there's no bleed in that. So that sounds like this. And at the same time I was also recording his amp, and that sounds like this. So you can hear a little bit of bleed from the rest of the room, a little bit of the drums in there. So the very first thing I did was make a track stack for these two different tracks and blend those together. So I selected my two tracks, right click, and create track stack, which is disabled at the moment because I've already done that. And so that created this stack right here, which you can minimize either in this view or in the mixer view as well. And that combines these two guitar tracks together into one. And then what I did was made a blend of the two that I liked. So the easiest way is just to start with one track and then bring the next one up. Something like that. So I liked the direct one because it's nice and clean and easy to work with. The amp, I felt, gave it a little bit more body, so I still wanted a little bit of that in there. So blended that in, and then that gives me the combined track here that I can now work with. So I can simply minimize those two tracks and forget about that, and now just stick with the one track here. So the next thing I then did was load in this virtual mix rack, and I'll just mute all of these modules to start so we can go one by one. And basically this virtual mix rack I've talked about in previous videos is just a way where you can have different modules. So in this case, we have our compressor here and also two different EQs, but it's all kind of packaged into one plugin. So starting with the virtual channel, this just emulates a analog mixing desk. So I have it set to the Brit N, which is a Neve, which I tend to prefer. And then next is just adding a little bit of compression. So I have this set around -3 dB of gain reduction using the threshold to set that. And that just kind of glues the whole thing together and makes sure all the hits are nice and even. And then if any strums are louder than others, then just evens that out a little bit. And then next we have EQ. And this first SSL EQ is actually not being used at all. You can see here all the dials are right up the middle. So I could actually just get rid of that one. And the next one I have is the Neve. And as I've showed in the past, I like to use the Logic EQ kind of in tandem. I'll use the Logic EQ to kind of scan any frequencies and then do my boosting in here. And a lot of times the cuts, I'll just leave those in the Logic EQ because I find it's a little bit easier to dial in the cuts in here. But I like using this Neve for the boost because it's just nice and smooth. And to me, it just sounds pleasing. You can boost without it sounding overly harsh. So what I've done here is cut out a little bit at 250 minus 1.2 and as well a little bit of cut around 900, basically by the same amount. So just cleaning up a little bit of muddiness there. And then I've got a boost 1.7 dB at 3000 hertz and also the high shelf here. And lastly, my high pass filter. So I'm filtering out all my low end from 150 hertz and below. And that's just going to cut out any of the bass or kick drum that's kind of bled through there. So let's hear a little before and after of the EQ. So I'll bypass the EQ to start and then I'll turn it on. So depending on the speakers you're listening to, you can hear that low end kind of gets cleaned up. There's a little bit of that kick that's coming through, but with that high pass, that cleans that up nicely. And just overall, just brings it up a little bit in getting rid of that muddiness and just kind of making it sound a lot more clear. It's nothing drastic, but again, just kind of cleaning it up a little bit and make everything sound heard and nice and present. Next is where we're going to create a bit of space using reverb and delays. So I've got two different reverbs here. First, a hall reverb using the Valhalla vintage verb. And I have this set to 4.08 seconds. And I've got some almost 60 milliseconds of pre-delay as well. And that's kind of going to be my longer kind of trailing reverb. And with that on, it sounds like this. And off. So just gives it more space for that guitar. Now, one thing to mention about the reverb is I have an EQ placed on it as well, and just a high pass and a low pass. And then this is basically just to filter out kind of any of the bleed from other instruments that I don't really want to go through this reverb. So the bass and low end, I don't really want that to be reverbed, and as well as kind of the high end of the cymbals from the drums. So that's what this is doing here. And another note on the sends themselves, by default, they'll be set to post pan. So that means the send will follow the panning of the main track you have set here. And since I will have this panned all the way to the left, that means the corresponding send and reverb will be panned left as well. But I'm actually have this set to post fader, and doing this is going to ignore the panning here, which is kind of what I want. I want the guitar to be predominantly in the left, but I want the reverb of the guitar to still kind of be in both the left and right and just make it sound a lot wider. So I've done that for all 3 of my sends for both the guitars. Now the next send that I have set up here is another reverb. This is bus 13, which is here, and this is a plate reverb. So I have it set to the smooth plate mode, much shorter pre-delay, much shorter decay, 1.8 seconds. And this is kind of acting as my main reverb, whereas the long one is just kind of something that's lingering around in the background a bit more. And I also have the EQ for this one as well. So with that one layered in as well, it sounds like this. And with both reverbs off, so it just helped add that space that we were missing before. And then the last thing I have on bus 14 here is my stereo delay. And stereo delay is basically kind of 2 delays in one. You have settings for the left side and setting for the right. So on the left, I have it set to 1/8 notes, and in the right, I have it set to 1/4 notes. And then I also have my low cut and high cut applied. So instead of adding an EQ like I did with the reverb, I kind of did that directly in the plugin. Low cut at 270 and high cut at 500. So that means it won't delay the frequencies outside of this range. And then the feedback, so the more feedback you have, kind of the more repeats you're going to get. I have it set relatively low at 15%. And then crossfeed left to right. So that means that the repeats from the left are also going to fade into the right side by 30%. So with the delay now, this sounds like this. And with all of the spatial effects off, it sounds like this. So again, just giving us that space there that we didn't have before. So that's the first guitar done. And then moving on to the second guitar. Just put this in the middle for now. Same approach. Loading in the mix rack, a little bit of compression. Anywhere from 1 to 3 dB. I could probably add a little bit more of that just to get closer to that -3 dB. This next compressor, that's not being used, so we can get rid of that one. Same thing with this EQ. Now with the EQ, again, we have a little bit of a high shelf there. We have a little bit of a boost at 1.48 kilohertz. And a little bit of boost at 650. So on this one, I was missing a little bit of body, so added that in. And then again, the low cut at 150 and a bit of a cut in the Logic EQ at 180 as well. So we'll do a little bit before and after. So before the EQ. And after. So again, just kind of cleaning things up and making sure that everything is heard the way we wanted it to. And then lastly, I added in the same reverb and delay as the other guitar and pan this one all the way to the right. So I have one all the way to the left, one all the way to the right. So now that I have these two guitars done individually, I created another track stack so that these two guitars are all within one stack right there. And then on that stack, I have my virtual tape machine and another virtual mix rack, which I'm mainly just using for a little bit of the compression. So the next thing I did was make sure that the volumes were nice and balanced between these two tracks. So again, you can bring one of these tracks down and then just slowly bring it up until you're happy with the blend. And then this compressor, as I mentioned, this is on the main guitar stack, and I'm just doing a little bit of compression there. So just around kind of 1 dB, and that will just glue the two of those guitars together. And then the last thing is just to blend it all in with the entire track. So let's do that now. And there you go. So I was still tweaking the balance a little bit between the two. Once I heard everything in the track, I wanted a little bit more of Craig's guitar. And that's something you kind of want to keep in mind too as you're going, is it's definitely helpful to solo these guitar tracks so you can really hear what's going on and dial things in. But really, you want to make sure that it sounds good with the rest of the tracks. So as you're soloing, make sure that you're referencing back and forth with the actual track as well to make sure that the moves that you're making actually are contributing to the final mix, not just sounding good on their own. So I hope you found that helpful. If you got any questions, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. And if you've been enjoying this series so far, make sure to subscribe so that you can follow along till the end of the process. And lastly, if you want to improve your workflow in Logic Pro, don't forget to download my free Ultimate Logic Pro Starter Pack. This includes my Logic Pro hotkey cheat sheet with all the most common shortcuts right at your fingertips, my audio recording checklist to make sure your recording sessions go as flawlessly as possible, my mixing guide with some tips for the most common Logic Pro mixing plugins, my gear guide if you're just getting started and want to know exactly the gear that you need to get your home studio up and running, and lastly, my Logic Pro session templates to get you started right away. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.